Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the July Town Hall. My name is Chris Neto. I am with Starin. I am here today with Barco, as you can see by the slides here. And today joining us is Jen Sigmund. She's the Senior Segment Marketing Manager for the Americas. Wow, that was a mouthful. How are you, Jen?
I'm doing great, Chris. How are you today?
Doing great. We're all excited. We all would like to hear a little bit more about what's going on with Barco. It's been interesting times that we've all been dealing with in the last couple months. Excited to hear about what you guys refer to as the new hybrid workplace and the evolution of the ClickShare Conference. So before we get into the actual presentation, give us a little bit of information on the ClickShare Conference. I know that it was released earlier this year here in the Americas. It had a big, kind of fanfare thing going on that I attended in New York. Can you give us a little bit of, get us up to speed of where ClickShare Conference is and how it came about?
Sure. So ClickShare Conference is was brought about with a way to do a very simple way of conferencing. Same way ClickShare Present, that everyone's been aware of, right? ClickShare's been around for 6 years now, 7 years. Very simple, one-touch way to present material has now been extended to a very simple way to do conferencing. So we're going to just talk about this. You're right. It was launched in February, and right about the time we started shipping was when all this craziness started. So what I'd love to do now is just take an opportunity to tell you a little bit about ClickShare Conference, but really focus a little less on the product. We can always answer questions about that, but tell you about really why it's come about. So first of all, welcome to everyone, and thank you. We all thought this would be over by now, didn't we? Back in March, we were like, this is going to be a 6-8 week thing. We're going to be done. Well, guess what? We're 5 months now, going 6 months into this whole COVID thing, and I know that this has affected everyone's life, right? And we're starting to see how the world has changed in so many different ways. We were just talking a little bit before about plane travel, and last week I happened to be in the airport, probably the first time in 4 months, and I was just amazed at how little movement there is with people, and how just basically how sparse they are. And so we're already seeing that impact, and analysts have already supported this too, and they're saying it's 50% air travel down, and until things change, we just know we're not going to see that. Same thing, and we're seeing this in all aspects of our life, right? Same with migrating to a home office. Once everyone was told to leave the office and start working from home, there was this huge rush around, oh God, what do we do? A lot of people, some of us have been working from home for a while, so it really wasn't that much of a shift. But a lot of people, this was a huge shift, right? So how do you start working? How do you start getting up to speed and getting functional and stay connected with everybody? The other thing is there are some companies that are starting to migrate back to work. Little fits and starts. Barco is based out of Atlanta. We just started opening our offices again in the last couple of weeks. So you've got to start looking at different protocols now, right? People are even going back to the office. Well, this is not going away anytime soon. We're going to be dealing with this type of environment for a while. So how do you start thinking about distancing in meeting rooms? How do you start bridging people in the meeting room and working from home? And of course, probably the last thing is around the adoption of video. If you can go to the next slide a little bit, what we're talking about is really a shift in the way that people are starting to work with video conferencing. And this is something that we know is been rapidly evolving over the past several months, right? We know that the adoption of video apps was dramatic. It was 60x. I believe Zoom said 60x downloads of their app in the month of March. So all of a sudden, people who have never been using video just started embracing video because you really have no choice, right? So as we're starting to do that and we're starting to shift, we're looking at how are we going to now start bringing some of the tools and some of the techniques for collaboration that we've been doing at home back into the workspace. So we talk about hybrid working, and this may be a new term for some people, but it really means there has been a process that's been going on about people kind of working away from the office, working at home, working in co-working places in a lot of different places. But what it's doing is it's accelerating the challenge of infrastructure on the entire environment, right? So now, before, where it was nice to have someone or a couple people outside of a meeting, now you've got 50, 60, 70% of your people coming into a meeting from outside of a physical structure where you built also your security. So we know that this is going to be a big challenge. The other thing is just simply on how people are working in general. We know that right now, there's just been some new data that came out that said really only 12% of people really want to work from home permanently, right? Most people do want to get back into the office. We're social people. We like to go in for meetings. We like to meet with face-to-face with customers. And we also just have that whole sense of collaboration. So this is something that's being forced into this new work environment. But let me step back even a little bit before that, because even before COVID, if you step back and you look at where the industry has been going, Gartner over the past year has been talking about how meetings in general are starting to shift. And they started putting out some, modeling and predictions late last year that said really by 2024, in-person meetings are really going to drop from 60% right now of enterprise meetings down to about 25%, driven by remote work and changing workforce. So we've been seeing this evolution happening anyway. If you go to the next slide, let's talk about this, because while we talk about COVID and hybrid working environments, what we're really talking about at the end of the day is the impact on CIOs and the network infrastructure and how IT is being asked to deal with this, right? And so when they ask CIOs, what is going to be your biggest challenge? And this was actually a survey just done recently by McKinsey. What are your biggest challenges? And it's really about getting people the tools that they're going to need to be able to collaborate effectively no matter where they're working from. So, 32%, that's a third, are saying that this collaboration tools are a problem. And there's really three challenges. So as we talk about hybrid environments, working from home, and now moving back into an office, there's three things. One, how can I move from conferencing tool to conferencing tool? May not have thought about that a whole lot before, but now that people have been working from home, we're on a Zoom conference right now. After this call, I'm probably going to run to a Teams call. And then I'm going to maybe have another call where I'm going to come in, I'm going to be on a WebEx because somebody else is creating a WebEx call. You've got to be able to allow your staff and employees to be able to freely move from conferencing tool to conferencing tool. The next is move from room to room. So as we're looking at environments, if there's been hubs put into a room, maybe you've got a Zoom hub in a room, maybe another room doesn't have it. How do you create that seamless experience? Because at the end of the day, it's all about personalizing the experience, right? And the third thing is really, why can't I just use these tools and experience what I'm used to doing right now with my laptop and make it simply work? So simply, why can't I bring my own meeting to wherever I go and use my tools? So if you go to the next slide, let's talk a little bit about that. Bring my own meeting makes just a lot of sense, right? We're starting to see data where people have been, starting a lot of meetings anyway from their laptops, from their cell phones. We've seen recent data as well from FutureSource that said up to 62% of people now start a conference from their own laptop. That's up 20 points in 1 year. So when you think about this and how we're migrating, it's just going to continue to evolve. People don't want to touch things. People want to use their own laptops. You want to have the experience that you've got on your laptop the same way you've got in your meeting room. So when you bring your own meeting, it enables you to do the things. It allows you to use the tools that you know, right? The data stays secure on your laptop. It's not going anywhere. Everything that you know, login, security on your laptop are all resonant with what you've got. And of course, you're doing this with your own experience. So if we go to the next slide, let's talk about what bring your own meeting means from Barco's point of view. And it really is this, it's simply three things. One, you simply come into a meeting room with your own device, right? You walk into a meeting room, you've got your own laptop, you're familiar with it. For those of you who use ClickShare already, all you have to do is plug in a button. It's the same thing. You simply plug in a button. And three, you simply join a call. And what this does is it changes the whole dynamic because you are now bringing in the audio, video, and all the peripherals you have in your meeting room are at the access of the person who's starting the call. So if you go to the next slide, I think the biggest way to share how this works is if you look at the first screen here. If I'm doing a call, of course you guys can't see me, but from everyone participating in this from your own office, okay, you're seeing me, a laptop, and then I see you. It's a one-to-one type of environment. But wouldn't it be great if I were actually sitting in a meeting room and you were a remote participant into this meeting room and you wanted to see everybody in the room? Now, if you look at that, second snapshot there, this is what you get by simply plugging the button. You not only just get access to all the content, but now you get to see everybody in the room. So what this does is it fundamentally changes the experience for remote participants. So this is what Bring Your Own Meeting is all about. When we say bring your own meeting, it's really about bringing the meeting to everyone involved in the call. So people in a meeting room, in a particular building or a place, to all people who are remote as well. So that's it in a nutshell. If you want, you could go on to the next slide. It's just basically our closing slide. But our fundamental thing is bring your own meeting. ClickShare Conference is about bringing your own meeting and doing it very, very simply with simply the touch of a button. So with that, let me turn it back over to you, Chris. But that's what I've got today.
Awesome. I have a ton of questions that I personally want to ask.
Sure.
It's part of kind of what we do here with our town hall. So,
Okay.
Listening to the conversation was very good. You brought up a lot of great points. For integrators that are watching our town hall right now, they're probably going, all right, it's a ClickShare in a conference room. But one of the key takeaways that I got out of this is that the rooms are built and designed the same way the integrators have been designing UC conference rooms. Essentially, they're putting in the microphones, they're putting in the cameras, and now the difference is by adding this ClickShare Conference to the equation, you're essentially not having the room PC anymore. Is that correct? Your room PC is now substituted by the person's laptop and powered by the person's laptop. Is that correct?
That is exactly it, yes. And you captured that better than I explained. But essentially, you no longer have to worry about touch panels. You no longer have to do anything. Basically, you're bringing in your own device, and your own device becomes a controller. And it doesn't matter. The other thing I should have mentioned is it's agnostic. It doesn't matter whether you go from Zooms to Teams to any type of room. As long as you're connecting into a USB peripheral in the room, we work with a wide range of them.
That's awesome. So what the current integrator understands of building out conference rooms still remains the same, with the exception of the Nokia. Somebody who spent 13 years on site as an end user manager client, not having a PC in the room would avoid a lot of maintenance of constantly going back to the room for updates, and has it updated to the latest Rev Gen software, or whatever Windows processor was in there. So bringing it onto your laptop ensures that it's grabbing whatever those updates are and staying current, including the actual current video conferencing software that they're choosing to use. So that is a major plus. We're starting to see some questions coming in through the Q&A. I encourage everybody who is watching to go ahead and type into the Q&A section. But the first question out the gate is, what are the IT challenges with Wi-Fi or corporate setups as it pertains to, obviously, ClickShare?
So when you're saying corporate Wi-Fi, in what capacity with ClickShare? So ClickShare Conference can either be on the network or can be completely independent, and we don't use Wi-Fi as a signal, okay? So it's basically between, I'm sorry, we do. We support, let me step back. We do. It is basically between the button itself and the base unit as a collaboration. So we don't send any video traffic over the network, anything like that. So you don't have to worry about video impacting the network traffic. That's where that question is going.
Yep. And you still have a proprietary connection from the button back to the base unit, which
that's correct.
That is proprietary. That's not running over your network either. That's being picked up through the ClickShare and the magic of ClickShare.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I am not a technical expert on all of how the nuances work and all the security protocols and stuff like that. So we do have a white paper, and we'll be happy to follow up and get any details that are needed on that. Sounds
great. That's exactly what we plan to do. Don't want to make you uncomfortable, and if you can answer it, great. If you,
I'll say I might guess some of this stuff. I'm not.
Our audience wants to hear the real deal, and if you are going to say, "Hey, that's not my area of expertise," and we can get back to them with all that information. So, thank you for clarifying that. All right. The next question that I have is, what other items do you need to go with? USB camera, 2.0 or 3.0 USB, mics, audio. They're basically saying, how do you, to break down the question is what would be a standard outfitting of a space that goes with the ClickShare conference?
Okay, so right now we're certified to work with a whole wide range of USB cameras and audio. As you probably know, we have partnered with Logitech. We have the meetup and the rally. We have anything really that's a USB camera though, and audio. We use Hudley cameras. Hudley. So there's just a wide range of peripherals, and we have them all on our website, and it's constantly changing and being updated. But theoretically, yes, you can take all your existing peripherals that you have in your conference room right now and use them with ClickShare, as long as they're USB.
So you have a running list of your alliances that are building product that are tested and proven to work with the ClickShare conference in the space.
That's correct. Yes. It's a long list and it keeps changing. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Of course, my phone is ringing today.
This is Verizon Financial.
Wow, look at that. And I get a wow. Thank you for my phone. Anyway, the next question is coming in from Daniel Shatzik. Each ClickShare button connected to a single base unit, or can a button be moved to different rooms and utilized in different base stations? Can you identify a button that is portable, or are they room specific to each base station?
So the same way that ClickShare is today, and once you plug it in and you authenticate it with the system that you have in the room, that's the room that it's paired with, right? So if you did want to take a button out, you'd have to go and you'd have to repair it with a different room in a different with a different base station. But right now, the other thing is to keep in mind with buttons and base stations. And I know buttons tend to move around a little bit or whatever. And we have a way now to be able to go back and you're able to track who used a button last. If one does tend to walk off or something like that, there's ways to do it. But yes, they're paired with the base station. You just can't move them around without reading.
Awesome. Next question comes in from Sean Watts. How does the far end connect into the meeting? I'm assuming that this is the question is obviously coming in from the point of view of, all right, I have a ClickShare conference. What does the far end need to have?
So you're using any of your communication platforms, whether you're using Microsoft Teams, whether you're using Skype, you're using Google Meet, whatever. That is your platform of choice for communication, right? So what you are simply doing is you're sharing that peripheral in the room with the far side, but you're still all using the same unified communication platform, right? So for instance, you and I right now, we're on Zoom. So if I were using ClickShare Conference, what that really does is if you were in a large room right now with a whole bunch of people, it allows you to share that entire room with me. ClickShare in itself is not doing the communication platform. It's Zoom or it's Google or it's whatever platform you use. Does that answer the question? Yeah.
Works. All right. Anonymous attendee sends in another question. This is great. Can you have multiple people with ClickShare buttons and laptops on the same conference, or basically multiple windows to show the same Barco ClickShare conference system?
That's a good question. I know when you start the conference, you will have one laptop that has got that conferencing button that will start the conference. And then you have different people who can share either using an app or other buttons to present and share. But you have that one laptop connected in that is actually creating the communication to set up the conference. So I don't believe, and I'm not quite sure. I need someone else to tell me if you can actually undo it and then someone else, but I think it would stop the conference and you restart the conference.
Okay. Another question that I have here that came in through our channels. Does the existing ClickShare button work with the new ClickShare conference, or is there a special button?
That's a good question. No, it doesn't. So as you can imagine, because this has got different capability in the new ClickShare conference, the old button is just present. There's not a way to do a software upgrade or anything. They are two totally separate buttons. And the button itself does look different. It's actually got a second smaller little button on it as well. Gives you additional flexibility. So you can tell them apart visually as well.
So there's a little button. What's the little button for?
Oh, the little button allows you to do different capability. I think we got a slide in here that shows you. We can pull it up, but you've got different functionality in terms of being able to share and control. And basically, it gives you self-view. There's different capability.
Understood. That just figured I'd ask. Throw it out there. I'm trying to
Yep.
stop you, but you've been doing very well with not getting stumped.
I'll tell you if I can. I'll be honest. And feel free also, if there's anyone else on the Barco team on and you think I misspoke on something, feel free to jump in. You're not going to hurt my
Hey
feelings.
Jen, it's Paul. Can you hear me? Hey, it's Paul Regensburg, Channel Account Manager. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. I just wanted to say those buttons. So the new button is a C button, a CUSB button, right? Versus the old is
Yep.
the 2.0. So that's why it's not compatible that way. But again, as you see on this picture, you have a small button that can do a lot of other functions, and the main button looks pretty much the same. So if there's a lot of you out there that are presenter using ClickShare, that center you're used to seeing it turns red. We now can connect to the whole system in about 7 seconds or less, and that will turn green, spin around, and eventually it will turn red when you connect. So all updated firmware to make it is as easy as ClickShare has always been, but much faster now to make the connection. Thanks, Jen. Appreciate it.
Right. No, thanks for calling that out, Paul. Great points.
All right. We got another question. Can you talk about touchback and how it relates to sharing content?
So touchback, meaning
touchback. I guess that would be if you have a screen in the room, and how does that work with the ClickShare?
Yes. So that is
from the ClickShare.
Yeah, so we have that capability. And Paul, just keep me honest, I can't remember if it's shipping or not on the 30 or not.
Yeah. The top unit is I think it's the 200 plus that has a touch from the original ClickShare presenters. But right, so in the last few years, touchscreens have been around forever, but for conference rooms, probably the last half a dozen years. And actually, I think the last probably 3 years, people are actually really using them. So if you have a touch, which today, right, COVID, right, I mean, who wants to touch anything? However, if somebody is using those screens, and obviously everybody's cleaning it and disinfecting it, you can drive your presentation. If you happen to be standing in front of that display, you can touch it and control, let's say, your PowerPoint presentation. So very, very handy. I know it's touchbacks. It sounds a little interesting. I always say it's a touch capability that the ClickShare operates with. It's got to be a touch display, which comes from many manufacturers, right, that make touch displays today, from 55-inch to probably 70-inch today.
Yeah. Sounds great. Paul, I got a solution for your not wanting to touch things. You can always get a pen with a stylus tip on it. It works wonders, and it's yours.
I love that. It's better than using my elbow, so thank you.
Absolutely. We don't want to see your elbow going through screens.
Right.
Chris, while you're talking about touch stuff, let's just talk about that, because that isn't, everyone going back into the offices right now is, concerned. I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to touch stuff, So the button itself is small. You can wipe it off with alcohol. So anyone who's doing any regular cleaning anyway of offices, and you're doing everything with cables, any alcohol-based thing, you can just do that and wipe that as well. So simple.
Just don't submerge it in water to clean it.
I did.
If you don't say it, somebody's going to ask it. So don't submerge it in water.
I can probably say it. I don't think it's water tested. Yeah, I don't think so.
No, not at all. All right. Next question we have from John Stork. Have you had any lag issues between the connected laptops and the ClickShare base with the cameras and the microphones?
No, latency has been incredible. I don't know what the milliseconds is, but the latency is really, really low. I've been on a number of calls and haven't seen a whole lot of issues just in just regular video and audio. Now, obviously, if you run movies or something like that and you're trying to run something, you're going to see a little bit of latency. But I know it's continually on the roadmap for constant improvement.
Yeah, the playback portion of it is something that has been getting tighter and tighter. I've seen that in the previous generation of ClickShare, and from what I saw on the ClickShare conference, you guys are still cutting it down. Eventually, there won't be a lag when it comes to the playback.
Right.
On the camera and the microphones, I haven't noticed it, but again, we're down to milliseconds, and maybe I'm just not catching it. But as of right now, the camera and microphone are syncing up really nice. there's an obvious still little lag on the playback of content when you guys are sharing. So want to be transparent about that. All right, next question from Daniel. Again, Daniel Shaktis. Again, does the button need to stay powered whether when it's not in use so that it becomes unpaired in the base unit, or will it automatically repair with the base unit immediately after being plugged into the unit? Obviously, these buttons are not chargeable, so you keep the memory of what base it's assigned to. Am I correct? Nothing's changed.
Right.
Yes,
Nothing's changed.
correct.
They're not powered. Yes.
Correct.
So
you're not going to lose anything.
But if you take that ClickShare button, Daniel, and you move it to a different conference room, there will be it won't work. You have to then go through the reprogramming of it. Fortunately, it's also been something that I've witnessed gotten a lot faster in the last 2 years or so with every software update that I've seen ClickShare getting up, because I get a lot of the product to test around. I did see that it's noticeably faster in how it recognizes and pairs as opposed to the processes of days gone by with the older ClickShare buttons. These are definitely much faster.
Thanks, Chris. Hey, it's Paul. Just wanted to add, I mean, it's really about a 30-second pair. It's not a long time by any means. I haven't done one in a while because I'm in my office forever, like a lot of people, and I haven't paired it recently. But when I did, and I got my unit, it was very quick. So, but good question.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's the only other thing I wanted to bring up about, the buttons and everything. The other thing we're noticing is there's been a big take up of the app and use of the app. So I don't know if everyone is aware of that as well. Is that we do have an app. So if anyone just doesn't want to use a button or anything, you can get the same functionality that you've got on the button on your laptop with the app. So.
Sounds great.
And Jen, can I mention one other thing?
Oh my God, Paul, yes. Okay.
I can't help it. My head is spinning, so I'm sorry. But the app, there is no charge for the app, so you can just put it right on your desktop. And since I'm a sales guy, real quick thing. I know there were some questions. Hey, do you have demo units? We have demo units. Starin has all the programs. We actually have a try and buy program. We also have a trade-in program. So if you have an old collaboration piece that, when I'm ready to give it up, I want to go with the ClickShare, we have that too. And anybody at Starin or myself will be happy to help you figure that out.
Absolutely.
Thank
Gosh,
you.
can you tell who's sales and who's
Thanks.
marketing here? Can you tell me? Well, I couldn't tell anything.
This is awesome.
Actually, the only thing I was going to just throw in there as well is about the software and the fact that, to the point of once you purchase this, all your software upgrades are free, right? Because our whole goal at the end of the day is to make sure your software stays updated. You've got all the latest revs, so it's free. Same way it's always been.
Sounds great. There's another question here that I can actually answer. Neil Wender was asking, is it shipping? They're all shipping. They're all in stock. Starin has them. You're more than welcome to ping us. We have the product in-house. The only thing we do not have currently, which is a little bit on a delayed side, has been the TA compliant buttons. These are TA compliant units. So the other the buttons as well, they're all in regular buttons, but if you need a government approved button, that is the one thing that is on its way, and it should be here shortly. It's not too far out. So please, all the products that you're hearing us talk about today, which is the CX30 and the CX50, are in-house. Next question.
And CX20. CX20. There's three of them.
I forgot.
There's three. That's okay.
Marsha. There's always one. All right.
Yeah.
So another question that we have is, they want to ask you, how do multiple participants in the same room share their laptop content in a conference? I understand there is a single participant that initiates and controls the meeting, but how do the various people in a space share their screen?
Okay. So, Paul, keep me honest. I believe we can have, is it up to 2 or 4 that can share?
Right. 2 to 4, right? So if 2 people are in the room and each have a button and one's presenting, when the other participant hits their button, you could both be on the screen, or one will be knocked off and the other one will be presenting their information. So really, really easy to do that.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. The next question is, Do you have a group size or room size? And this is coming in from John Zakaruk. Man, I am butchering people's names, and I apologize. John Z, how's that?
John Z.
Do you have a group size or room size recommendation when pairing the CX50 with the Logitech Meetup, Rally, Rally Plus? Basically, what size group in a meeting in space to match up with the maximum group size of a CX50? So basically, they're trying to get an approximation of, is there a particular amount of people that need to be in a space, or a certain size that the CX50 works into? Is it a 10 by 10, 20 by 20, 12 person, 100 person?
Yeah.
That's the kind of information that I would think John is asking.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna punt this one over to you, just because
Yeah.
to me it's more about functionality of what you want to accomplish in that space. It's going to determine, but they're designed for different sizes. So I'll let you take it.
And Jen, I agree. And today's so different, right? I mean, we're
Right.
hearing, that rooms are being built out, new rooms, conference room for really only 2 to 4 people. I mean, I have a meetup rally in my office, and I'm one person, so with a brainstorming tablet on the wall. So, I use it. But in the world BC, before COVID, right? If you had 8 to 10 people conference room size, that would be a really good fit for a room that size. And I bet you that room would probably be 20 by 10 type of thing, if you're looking for, feet, width by length type of thing. Because remember, the head end of the screen and the meetup rally will be in the front, and everything will be connected to the display, and you just put the button in your laptop, or use your app, press the button, or hit the app with your mouse, and you're presenting. But to answer your question, again, depending on your needs, but I would say, if there's any typical today, and of course everything's not typical, but I would say an 8 to 10 person table with that with the meetup rally is pretty good. And there's lots of options out there today that the cameras do follow you around the room. They got some great audio, play some great music through it if you want to do that. So, but that's what I'm seeing. That's what I've seen. Again, BC.
Awesome. So another question that popped up as we are starting to wrap up. This one's going to be kind of easy. I'll open this up to Paul or Jen, whoever wants to tackle this one. What is the main differences between the 3 units? We have the ClickShare portfolio up on the screen. Can you just give us the 20 has this, the 50 has this, the 30 does, and the 20 is kind of bare bones, or is it the other way around? That's what people are asking.
Right.
Okay.
Well, Jen, if you don't mind, I'll jump in, and then you can jump in. It's just from my view, because I sell thousands of them a month. But the 20 is a small, the 30 is for medium conference room, the 50 is for a larger conference room. The 30 and the 50 have some kind of unique things. Again, you have the touchback, so if you wanted to do a touchscreen, you could. And then the 50. The one thing that you could do is, which it has an HDMI input. So I don't want to get too technical, but if you had a conference room PC that you wanted to be on all the time, when somebody walked in the room and you had your company logo on there and that was the computer, then you sit down, you plug in the button, you hit the button, and now you're presenting. When you get done with your presentation, right, you remove your button, that computer is on that screen. Of course, there's some more stuff to that. And again, as you see, the price range is appropriate with the features and benefits of what comes with our conference line. Jen, please add to that. That was just a quick little snippet there.
You got it. I can tell you're in sales. You're awesome. You got it.
For obvious, for the people that are actually looking at the portfolio itself, there is one button versus 2 buttons. That's one of the bigger differences between the CX20 and the other 2. And then to go and talk a little bit more in depth of what Paul was saying with the 50, it basically has an auto switch, HDMI auto switch kind of thing going on. So you could have other devices in there, maybe even a digital signage player connected to it, that when the system is not in use, it automatically defaults to digital signage to get extra use, for example, of those monitors and of that space. So that's another way to use the CX50 without having to bring in extra hardware. All right, so we do have a couple more questions. We're going to keep going since they're coming in. Can either of these units work with dual monitor setups? And I know that that's a feature of the 50? Paul, do you want to answer that? Does dual monitor
Yeah.
work with the 20s and the 30s?
I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to double check. But no, like you said, it worked with the 50 for sure. So, because again, they have multiple HDMI ins and outs on the 50. So
They do on the 50. It's on the roadmap for the others.
Okay. Another question came in from Sean Watts. Would the 50 allow you to input a signal from a video switcher? Obviously, it has an HDMI in. That's the only one that allows for any type of HDMI in, correct, Paul?
right, that's correct.
So, Sean, to answer your question, the 50 would be the option to go with a video input into it. Okay. Throughout the input.
And Chris, while you're looking, I just wanted to mention also that, we're thinking again of, COVID world, right? And, try and be touchless, and it's a button, and you got to touch it. And I get it, they come with 1, 2, but there is an option where you can buy a button for yourself if it makes sense to your company, right? So you would have your own button, you come in the room and it's yours, right? You don't lend it out, it's paired to that base system. And you could, certainly do that. I think somebody had a question, and while I was looking at the buttons here and thinking, I just wanted to throw that out there.
That was a question. Yes, the option of buying your own and carrying. Well, if you're bringing your own meeting, why not just bring your own button too while you're at it too? Fits in your pocket.
Why not?
Let's go for it. All right. Are these controllable via the standard commercial integration control companies, the Crestron's, Control4s, AMXs, and so on and so forth?
Jen, from my side, I would bring in my SC for that, because I'd want to know what they actually want to connect up to, but I don't know if you know that answer. But we have our SCs around the country, so yeah, we could certainly find out for you.
All right.
Yeah, if that is something really like to know, I'm happy to follow up and get back on that one.
Not having the back of the 50 or the 30 in front of me, it's kind of hard for me to just take a look, see what the inputs are. But I'm assuming you can't. The 50 and the 30 obviously have most of these have been brought into controlled systems as inputs. So and they've been controlled by control systems. At least when I had done some integration, that was something we were doing with the previous ClickShare. So I don't see why these would not be controllable via the restaurant. Control meaning that you can turn them on and you can find them as a source, but not switch the input or switch the source. That needs to be
Chris.
through the button.
Yeah.
Yes. So I got to step in and answer a technical question for you guys. All right.
That's awesome.
So the next question, one last question. So when using the CX50 and an example that Paul just gave, we'll have to think about that. Can the room PC be used as the initiating and controlling PC?
Well, that would be the main computer on when you walked into that conference room, if it was on and connected to one of the HDMIs in, for sure. You come in, you sit your laptop down, you plug in the button, go to your app, press the button. You now basically remove that conference PC, and now you're presenting from your PC, laptop again, or iOS device.
The in-room PC becomes the default one. It's the main computer of the room. Everybody else coming in can join in with the buttons, but once you pull the button out of your PC, it defaults back to the computer or the main in the room. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of companies like to have wallpaper on their screen of their company logo, right? When you walk into the conference room, why not, right? It's a nice thing to have. So yes, but that's correct, Chris.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Paul, for jumping in, and Jen, thank you for introducing yourself, introducing the wonderful world of ClickShare Conference. It's a little different than what many have expected with the original conference, with the original ClickShare prior to this, which was pretty much a wireless display. And now what we're starting to see is an evolution of the conference room, an evolution of the technology going from just being a wireless sharing device that just shared content to actually being in the middle of the UC conversation. So I appreciate your time and for you and Paul to come here. Where can we find out more information about Barco, and how can people get a hold of you?
So we've got a whole ClickShare website if you want information specifically on ClickShare. Obviously, Paul's your contact there for some sales. If you've got additional technical questions, we have a whole bunch of sales engineers behind the scenes that can give more information on that as well. I just want to make sure everyone aware, definitely you can get, demo units and everything. Paul's your man for that.
Okay. Well, then you
Throwing you under the bus, Paul.
You can find us at Starin.biz. That's where you find all the information regarding a lot of the product that you hear about today. We also have in-house sales engineers that can help with your design of the systems. If you guys have any questions, not only do we carry the Barco product, but we also carry a lot, if not many, of their strategic alliance partners products that integrate into the ClickShare Conference. So the LG monitors and the Logitech products are all part of what we as Starin bring to you as an ecosystem to do these conference rooms, because UC is a very important space, especially right now in the current condition. So Mark, if you can bring up, producer Mark's in the background here, if you can bring up our $50 Amazon gift that we have to give. And according to Mark, as he sent me this, the prize-o-meter went off, and the winner of the $50 gift card is Mr. Peter Cook. Peter, Mark will be in touch with you to get you that $50 gift card. Thank you for posting questions in the chat, and thank you to everybody who joined us. Our next town hall will be in August. We have a surprise guest, and that's all I'm going to say. Thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful. Jen, thank you so much. Where can
You're welcome, Chris. Thanks.
Again, your Barco can be found at
Barco.com. Yeah, I mean, you go, and there's also ClickShare site as well. It's very simple. But yes, if you go and you just do ClickShare, I believe it's just ClickShare, www.clickshare.com. I'm not on that marketing side of it, but yeah, that'll get you there. We have a whole sitelet just dedicated to ClickShare.
Awesome.
So
you can find Paul in New York when he's not mysteriously making voices and being the omnipresent voice in the background. Paul, where can people get a hold of you? How do people get a hold of you? Because we never introduced you and what your title was. So well, here you go, sir.
Sure. So thank you, Chris. Yeah. So I support Starin, and I am. They have my information. If let's say I don't know how to get my email to you. Everybody write it down. But I am available, and again, I support Starin. So if you reach out to the Starin team, they know where to find me, and we talk on a daily basis. So here to help you. Thank you for attending very much.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. My name is Chris Neto. Again, I am a market development manager here at Starin. We will be hosting another town hall coming up in August. But for now, I just bid you guys, I hope everybody's happy and healthy and washing their hands and doing all the things to stay safe. Thanks again for stopping by the Starin Town Hall, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.